It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. You know him. His name is Sal Lopez. He is an actor, been working for years, but he's taken a big step, a bold move. He is with a Latino theater company, and he's finally launching his one-man show.
That's it.
And it is coming up. It's called This Is a Man's World, May 21st to June 21st at the LA Theater Center in downtown Los Angeles, and it addresses masculinity.
That's right. You know, I wanted to celebrate masculinity and manhood. I think that a lot of our youth, a lot of our boys don't have the sort of the role models that we had.
What does that mean?
Those role models,
Yeah.
a lot of those role models are now politically incorrect.
Right.
You know, John Wayne and Chuck Connors, the rifleman.
Right.
They're too macho. You know what I mean?
And
But
you
those
know,
are the
we
kinds of-
grew up around the same era, and I know that, especially in Los Angeles and California, there was a sense that, you know, you don't have guns in the home, you don't encourage cowboys and Indians,
Right.
you don't do any of that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, there may be some wisdom to that, but there's a flip side.
Well, I think the flip side is that, you know, we're wired differently. And I think, you know, a lot of our educational system has been to empower women, which I'm all for.
Of
and
course.
I think we've needed to balance, you know, we need to push our young girls and our women. But I think in the interim, we've forgotten about our boys. I mean, now we're trying to, you know, curtail their aggressiveness with medication. You know, all of a sudden we have to medicate them because, you know, they're too aggressive on the
hyper.
playground.
Yeah,
Or we want to
ADHD.
eliminate.
Right.
We want to eliminate recess,
So
which is just ridiculous.
tell us about what your message is in This Is a Man's World.
I hope that the message is celebrate who we are, and that it's. I remember when I was growing up as a boy, as a you know, young little boy, you know, going to play baseball or whatever. I liked being a boy. You know, I loved it. I didn't want to be a girl. You know, and
It's interesting. My family tree is littered with women.
Yes, yes.
I mean, my grandmother, one of 7 girls. My mother, one of 3 out of 4 girls.
Okay.
I have a sister. You're the flip side of that.
That's right.
Your family tree is littered with boys.
That's right.
One of 7 boys.
That's
Your
right.
father was one of, you know,
Yeah,
God
yeah.
knows how many boys. And
Right.
so,
and I have boys.
and you have boys.
And I
And
have
all
boys.
your brothers have boys.
That's right.
Except one.
Except one, whose
Right.
grandkids are now turning out to be boys.
Boys.
So, you know, anyway, I want to sort of remind us that, you know, it's okay to have the impulses that we have. Obviously, you know, we have our issues that we have to contend with as men, as boys. But I think that we have to remind ourselves that it's okay to be who we are, and that part of our either aggressiveness, if you will, part of that drive is part of who we are, and we should embrace
And it's
it.
interesting, you know, the word aggressive connotes something negative.
That's right.
But it doesn't necessarily need to be that way.
It's ambitious,
Yeah,
right?
Maybe I'm just trying to think of a way to say it otherwise. You know, casting no aspersions. It is tricky. It is tricky.
It can be, but it shouldn't be. I mean, this is who we've been for thousands of years,
Right.
isn't it?
Hunters. I mean, we're the hunters.
That's
and,
right.
You know, our wives are gatherers, and that doesn't mean that one's better or worse.
Absolutely not. I just finished a book called Man Down, which it talks about all the how women are so much better at so many things than men. And I obviously had to read that in order to get a perspective.
I want to come see your show. I'm sure our audience does as well. It is coming up May 21st to June 21st at the LA Theater Center on
right.
Spring Street. He, of course, is Sal Lopez. His play, a one-man show celebrating men and masculinity. It's called This Is a Man's World. My name is Brad Pomerance. You're watching Time Warner Cable's Local Edition.